So I just want to say a few words today. I don't know. I've been going through depression for the last 10 days. England has been going through a frost and it's been like minus degrees almost every single day. And today was 1 degree, but it's the last of the cold. Tomorrow it's going to be 4 degrees, and then on Monday it's going to be 8 degrees, and then it's going to be more or less 7 or 8 degrees throughout the rest of the week. And when it's 7 or 8 degrees outside, it means that I can put the heating on every now and then, and the house temperature can kind of easily stay at 70, at like 15, and that's kind of cool. Um, you know, I like it when you can just turn the heating on for like 10 minutes and then it stays like at 15 degrees for an hour. And yeah, when it's minus degrees, it just doesn't happen. You have to have it on basically the whole time, and the second you turn it off, the room goes cold, and then you just feel like I'm just wasting money. And then hence why I've been in this all week. And I think there might be a few jumpers that I've been swapping around, but yeah, I've had lots and lots of depression today and throughout the week, and it's kind of led me to actually want to print out a sort of different copy of the Quran. You know, I've been looking at Sharia law, and you know how much I relate to it or agree with it, and it's really bizarre how you can't get a straight answer. If you ask, like, Google, type it into Google, or type it into a YouTube video, what is Sharia law? It basically just says that it's laws based on the Quran, and laws based on Muhammad's way of life and what he did. He was supposed to be a good example for how people should be, and the Quran is supposed to be the path and stuff. And that kind of got me interested in the Quran, I guess, because it's like, if this is supposed to be God's path, you know, what are the laws of Sharia? And it was strange how it was hard to actually get that question answered, and I still haven't got those questions answered. I don't know what Sharia law is. It's laws based on the Quran, but when you try and look into what it is, it basically tells you to just read the Quran, and that's what I did today. And it's okay, it's a lot better than the Bible. You know, with the Bible, when I was trying to rewrite it and analyze it, I hated the way the Bible was written. I hated the way the sentences were put together in just a very awkward way. I hated how it repeats stuff over and over again, and it doesn't say anything interesting, but it tries to make it seem like it's saying something interesting. But when you actually think about it, you're just like, this is really boring, and I have no interest in doing this. And if I was to rewrite the Bible, I'd basically end up taking everything out of it because I just don't like anything about it. With the Quran, though, I felt like it was more understandable. I think sometimes there were things that could have been explained better, and then it went into some weird talk about Adam and Satan, which is just it's a kind of a fictional story, and I don't know, I kind of lost interest in it at that point. But I've written 5 pages of it, and I don't know. I know that rewriting the Quran and publishing like a different version of the Quran, only putting my name to it rather than Allah's name, I know that's going to piss off a lot of Muslims, but that's why I want to do it. You know, I've gone through something horrible. My whole life has been horrible. I feel cut off. I feel like the world does not want me. I feel like the world is not on my side. The world does not support me. The world does not know me. The world does not want to help me. The world has not been giving me a better life. It's not given me a good job. It's not let me be part of the world. It's not made me feel inclusive or included. It's not given me anything, and I have no reason to want to be here. I have no reason to live because I hate humans, and if I am living just to help humans, then I don't think that's a good enough reason to live, because I am that depressed and that angry at how just horrible this world is, you know. It's horrible what's happening with the fires in LA, and it's horrible to think that there is plenty of people out there that would be like, oh, this is God's punishment of them for gay people and stuff like this, and it's just horrible. People are horrible, and it's, you know, my life has been horrible, but because it's been horrible, I would love to just take the Quran, change the word Allah into Anna, make it clear that I am God and I am calling myself God, and anyone who calls God Allah are actually blaspheming me, because Allah is a fake God, a God that's not real. I do not support Muhammad. I do not like his clothing. I do not support the things that he supported. And this book is not correct how it is, because I didn't write it. You know, I would love to make this statement. I need to go into hiding, of course, because there's going to be a lot of Muslims that hate me for it and want to kill me for it. But I love the thought of angering people, and I love this thought. Why? Because I hate people so much for giving me such a horrible life. And it kind of reminded me of what's going on with LA and, you know, the houses that are being burned down. You know, there's going to be a lot of angry people, angry as to how there wasn't enough water, angry as to how the trees weren't thinned down, angry as to how just one house after another can be burnt in such a quick way. You know, they might be angry at God as well for if God controls the winds or whatever. You know, they might be angry at that, or you know, there's going to be a lot of angry people. But I feel like if I have an army, this army is the media, and it's all starting in LA. I believe that if I have an army of people, LA is where that is. And if you think about what's happened, you know, it's a disaster. This is worse than 9/11. 9/11 destroyed two work buildings, and maybe a bit of the Pentagon and stuff. It destroyed a couple of buildings, and mostly took lives, but it pissed the whole of America off, and that's what made the war with all this terrorists happen. And it went on to kill lots and lots of people, which I think was the plan, the idea of that. God knew that this would happen, 9/11 would happen, and she did it because she wanted to help reduce the population through war and pissing off the Americans by doing 9/11. That was the reason for it. And I feel like what's going on in LA right now is worse than 9/11. You know, you might not think, you might be like, oh, people's lives are more important, but if you lose your home, you know, you've lost your life, basically. Like, you've lost, you're still alive, and you'll be channeling that anger that you have from losing everything, and maybe it will make you realize that what is important is life and people being alive, and not your houses. But at the same time, it's still going to bring out an anger in people, an anger that they don't feel safe, an anger that, you know, they want justice, but they can't get justice because it's a natural disaster. But, you know, there's going to be a coldness that people have. You know, this natural disaster destroyed all these houses. Whole neighborhoods have gone. A lot of people are a lot poorer, and, you know, a lot of people are going to feel quite angry over this, and this anger that they have will make them care less about what's going to happen next. And I think that is the real reason for why it's happened. You know, what I've gone through in my life, I hate humans, and if 99% of you died tomorrow, I just would not care, because I would think about my life. I would think about how awful it's been. I would think how cut off I feel, how horrible it is to just constantly listen to people talk about how, God can't be real because there's kids dying in war, and if God was real, God is a monster, even though the possibility that God can't actually save these people, that's not even a tiny possibility in their mind. And if I try and tell them this, that they aren't interested. They would call me a schizophrenic. You're a schizophrenic. I'm not going to listen to you. I'm wasting my time talking to you. I've had all these messages today, just today, and a lot. But it makes me angry. It makes me angry to think that there are so many people that are going to judge me based solely on a religion that I had nothing to do with. I've inspired it through my spirit, but I don't understand how the spirit works. It's complicated, and I don't know what I've done as a higher self. But I know that Christianity was what people wanted, and a male God was what people wanted. So it gave people what it wanted, and I've been deeply affected by it. And to think that there's, after 12 years of trying to tell people, and I'm still coming across people that just want to call me a schizophrenic if I try to tell them that I'm God, and tell me that they're wasting my time even trying to talk to me or anything. I'm not wasting my time talking to you. I mean, I'm God, and this is how people are talking to me, like that, like I'm nothing. And I feel angry, and I feel shit. And what's happening in LA with the houses being, I think there's a lot of people that are going to be angry over it. And life is unfair. And if life is unfair to you, you would be more tempted to think that it's unfair for everyone. What's going on in Gaza with the war and stuff, it's bad. But if you've lived a horrible, shitty life, or if something bad has happened to you, like you've lost your home, you're going to be very angry over what's happened to you, and it's going to make you care less about what's happening to others. And I think that's the point, and that's the purpose of it, or at least that's me trying to see good in bad. There are too many people on earth. I feel like there's two different types of people. You've got the people that are capable of believing me and looking up at the evidence and seeing that I could be inspiring everything, all songs, all films, all religions. Okay, maybe not all films, but I'm inspiring so many different things through this spirit it's inside of me, and I have no control over. And but some people just are not capable of believing that. And they're not interested in believing that. They want to believe in the physical. They want to believe, the older you go, the closer to God you are, because God lived in the past, and how everything that's happened now, this is not of God's will. This is man's creation, and man's creation is nowhere near as good. Rather than believe that man has been working with God this whole time, and the fruit is only ripe now, and it wasn't. The fruit that was made 2,000 years ago, e.g. the Bible that was written, that was not the finished product. What the world is like now, with the collection of religions, with the collection of different views. This is what it's amounted to, but at the same time it's not necessarily good, and I think it's amounted to this desperate need for war, and this desperate need for less people in the world, so that the matrix can filter out the bad ones. And if my army is in LA, then I think them losing, or them realizing that a house can just go like that, I think it's going to bring out a huge amount of anger in people. But I think this anger is going to help them want to fight for a war, because this has happened because of climate change, and climate change has happened because of overpopulation and too many people. I know a lot of people are poor, so they're not really destroying the world, but everything you do destroys the world. Having so many, all the electricity, all the cars, all the food, and just everything you know, it heats up the world, and it's creating these problems. And you know, the people at the top, if they're angry, they're not going to care about the people at the bottom, because it's a protection thing. You know, my life, something bad has happened to my life, something bad might happen to my life. I don't want to lose my home each year. I don't want to have fires destroy our home. And you know, LA is a hot place, so if global warming is going to affect somewhere, it's going to affect there. And if global warming is happening because of overpopulation, then this is going to make the people in LA want to fight in a war more, want to spread more lies to confuse the people at the bottom, the people that want to believe lies. And when people start going in the rapture, they're not going to care as much, because, you know, if you've lost your home, then, you know, something bad has happened to you, and it will affect how you see other things, if other people, if bad things happen to others. And that's just how it is. You know, that's how it is for me. Something bad has happened throughout my whole life. I don't feel like I belong here. I don't feel like I have any connection with humans. I feel like I'm cut off. I feel like I'm not wanted here. I feel like I'm not appreciated here. I feel angered. And if the Muslims want to hate me for me rewriting the Quran, changing a couple of things, and changing the name Allah to Anna, you know, if they want to hate me for that, I feel like my life has been so fucking shit that I really do not care one bit. And I think people who have lost their home in LA or people who've lost, you know, their friends' homes, and their you know, they'll feel a certain amount of coldness towards other people too. So maybe that's the reason why it happened.